All right, so here's another one of my little Python videos here. Again, all this code is available for you on GitHub. And by the way, the whole idea of this is that you can use it, you can learn from it, you can view things. I know a lot of this stuff you can see in Wireshark, which is a wonderful tool, by the way. But sometimes I like to use these Python programs that I wrote, just so I can get what I need and the way I want to see it and just what I want to see. So this one here is going to show us kind of that client server interaction again, but it's going to focus mostly on IP addresses and port numbers and show us also what the response looks like from the web server. So let's go ahead and run this. So I'm going to pull this up a little bit. I'm going to hit run here. And like all of my code, it's available for both IPv4 and IPv6, especially really, we're seeing more and more IPv6. Most of the stuff I do from school and from home is via IPv6 by default. Okay, but let's do IPv4. We'll just keep it semi-simple here. I'll do IPv4. Okay, so it asks me to enter in the HTTPS URL of a website. I'm going to put in www.cisco.com. Now, why did I say HTTPS and not HTTP? Well, we could say HTTP, but really nowadays everything is using HTTPS, which is via it's secure. I won't go into that here, but it has to do with not only encryption, but also trusting keys and things like that. All right, so let's go to Cisco and take a look at what we get here. Wow, what just happened? Let's scroll up and take a look. A lot of stuff just happened here. Okay, so as you can see here, I said IPv4. I said www.cisco.com. All right, so it's telling me some good stuff here. First of all, this is my private IPv4 address. Okay, now if I chose IPv6, it wouldn't need to do this. Okay, and what is it doing? Well, it gets translated when it leaves my home router, and that's where I am right now, to this public IPv4 address. Okay. Now, I did not type in www.cisco. I did type in www.cisco.com, but what I did not type in, it was any IP address. That's because my DNS server, which is this server's address right here, you can see it's talked to it via IPv6. It resolved this domain name, this URL, to this IPv4 address. So that's what it used as the destination IP address. So let's take a look. So after the TCP three-way handshake, this is the HTTP GET request as it left my computer, okay, asking for this web page at www.cisco.com. Here is my source IP address. That's my private IP address. That's when it left my computer and stayed at that source IP address until it reached my router. This is the router that connects me to my ISP. Okay, and it got my source IP address got translated to that source to that public IPv4 address. Here's the destination IP address of www.cisco.com. Again, that got resolved by the DNS server. That is a public IPv4 address. Okay, we can see here's the source port that my operating system chose. Here's the destination port, 443 HTTPS. And here's the GET request. Now, again, I remind us that my private source IPv4 address was translated by NAT, by the router, to that public IPv4 address. Here's what we call the socket pair. As I left my computer, there's the source IP address and source port number. There's the destination IP address and destination port number. Now let's see as it came back from the server. Okay, so the server says, yes, here's my IP address. Great. And this is what the destination IP address was as it left the server and what it looked like throughout the internet until it reached my home router. Then my home router translated this IP address to this private IP address. Here's the source port that it came to from the client, from the server, excuse me, source port of the server, going to my, well, it was I consider my source port, but the destination port. Okay, so if we can see that right here, we can see that was my source port for packets going out, that segment, and in segments coming in, encapsulated in those packets, that's the destination, it's the destination port. Okay, and we can see some of the content that's being delivered. And I'm showing that right here. And I also remind us that the public destination IPv4 address is being translated by NAT when it hits my router, my home router, to that private IPv4 address. Okay. And we can see the HTTP information, including the status code 200 OK. So everything was found, looked good. And we see some of the information, includes some of the doc type HTML. All right. So again, I hope you find these programs useful. You can use them wherever you are, both IPv4 and IPv6, and get the information that you want to see. Okay, and hopefully this is in a format that helps you see it and helps explain it a little bit. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.